good looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. We need more dogs.
And welcome back to the latest, greatest episode of the 7 Points Podcast. My name is Jayden May, joined as always by my co-host Quentin Crisco. And very special guest tonight as we continue to break down the different divisions in the league. We are doing NFC East, joined by recurring guest Sam Finkel, Sam_Finkel on X.com, the everything app. How are we doing, boys?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here again.
Yeah, we're excited.
As Sam mentioned to me when I asked him if he wanted to come on again this year, he called it last year. He said Super Bowl or bust for the Eagles, and, you know, here we are. They got the trophy. I was there at the parade. I saw it myself. They indeed have that trophy.
They won the Super Bowl and then got rid of their weak link at offensive coordinator, and now they're just going to keep on rolling, I guess.
Oh, I don't know if it was quite a weak link for sure. That offense, did some damage, especially in that Super Bowl. So
right
there.
Sam, would you because when I was watching, my takeaway from the Super Bowl was yes, the offense was good, but do you think, in my mind, the defense is what won that game more than anything? Would you agree with that? Yeah,
I would agree with that. It's a special group of personnel, coaching. It just is it was the perfect situation. Fangio's scheme had been there obviously before Fangio was there. But having the mastermind and him being able to, tailor the personnel to what they're best at was just incredible, honestly. And we saw what really the peak of the defense can be.
The pride of Dunmore, Pennsylvania.
There you go.
Now, when we're talking about coordinators, so obviously you guys have an offensive coordinator change. Kellen Moore's out the door. Kevin Patullo, I believe it is in that seat now. What are your expectations for what that means for the offense going forward here?
Yeah, I don't think that much is going to change, honestly. And I kind of hope that not much change. I mean, every coordinator kind of has their own spin and, their own flow of game, just how they want to run a game and have certain plays. But it's Jalen Hurts' offense. They're going to run pretty similar things, I'd imagine, that he's comfortable with, that he does well in. And so I wouldn't expect too much difference between this coordinator to the last one.
Jalen Hurts, top 30 quarterback in the NFL.
See, I knew you were going to bring that up. And one thing I'll say is it doesn't matter. See, here's the thing. The rankings don't matter. He is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, one. And two.
I mean, brother, we're on the same page here. Top 30.
Listen, he is number one in work ethic, though, and attitude. And that's all I care about, honestly. At the end of the day, I'll take a quarterback, that has some limitations. And every quarterback in the NFL pretty much has limitations. And Hurts does have limitations, and that's fair. But somebody with his attitude, I'll take that anytime, for sure.
Yeah. Him and Nick Foles.
It might be the most motley crew of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks for any team. As much as Hurts is having a better career than Foles did on the generalized state of it, but that's not, those two guys don't scream oh, these quarterbacks, these two are gonna do it. But I want to say one of our guests who we had previously for the Bears episode, Danny Meehan, who does a lot of draft content, Jalen Hurts was one of his guys going into that draft class, and he said exactly what you just said. He just thinks he's built different mentally, from the work ethic standpoint, from the leadership standpoint, that is something you just buy into when you find it. And clearly the Eagles did that correctly.
You get a guy like that with Howie Roseman, and you'll win a lot of Super Bowls.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that he is the way he is mentally, but also how he structured his agent team and how he told the agent, I just want to get a deal done that helps my team build. It was a very Tom Brady-esque attitude to roster construction. So if you have a quarterback that's willing to, make some sacrifices, and still, honestly, he was the number one paid quarterback for that short period of time. And I believe it was right before Lamar reset it, and it has since reset after that. But he was really willing to structure the deal creatively. And when you have a creative mind like Howie Roseman, it works. It's a perfect combination, like you said.
Now that's an interesting point, because I mean, history does kind of show us that outside of maybe some of the Mahomes Super Bowls, or maybe just one of them, teams who win the Super Bowl tend to have a surplus value at quarterback in some manner. even when the Eagles won it previously with Foles, it was a Wentz rookie contract and Foles on a backup contract, right? Like
Absolutely.
they had extra value from that QB position. Tom Brady, all those years, was taking discounts, was doing stuff to make sure that he could keep getting back there. And even I feel like Mahomes currently, his deal is kind of a nice deal for KC at this point.
Yeah, and Carson Wentz basically won MVP.
Yeah, I mean, he would have had he not torn his ACL against the Rams. That would
Been saying it for years.
that he would have won MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was special that year. It was a shame what happened for him personally, but obviously, winning the Super Bowl, it's hard to look at that negatively.
Now,
Oh, yeah.
Sam, we missed this when we started the show. But for any Eagles fans who are watching, where can they find your work?
Yeah, so I do a lot for Inside the Birds. I actually, it's kind of funny. Like I kind of did my first podcast with you guys, and I guess after that, they've been putting me a lot on podcasts. I used to do a lot more of the writing, but I've been doing a lot of podcasts. I have my own segment called Inside the Data, and I do that with Jeff Mosher. But I also do some podcasting with Eagles Eric on the Eagles Edge.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
and I'm glad to hear that we were able to help kickstart your podcast journey, because that's that
Hell yeah, pioneers.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, you guys really did, and I'm very appreciative of that.
We appreciate you.
But so I guess let's go through some of the changes on this Eagles roster. I just have some of the big ones outlined here, like Josh Sweat gone, Milton Williams gone, Mekhi Becton gone, Darius Slay. I didn't even realize Slay was gone until the other day, or like a week or two ago, when I noticed he was on another team when I was making one of these graphics.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Gardner Johnson gone. How do you feel about how they've restocked it with guys like Ojulari and Uche and Pryor and maybe like a Kenyon Green in there?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's kind of a theme with some of the players that they kind of added more so than they've subtracted. The theme is either, unproven guys or guys that had, times of success and have sort of regressed or have these labels of not doing well. So like, for instance, Uche had that incredible year and then kind of went a little downhill. You have Matt Pryor, who actually, played a little bit and, bounced around a little bit. You have Kenyon Green, who was a first round pick, who was labeled a bust and did not look good at all for the Texans. And so you kind of have that theme. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at based on how the roster is constructed right now and preparing for the future. On the other hand, the subtractions hurt a lot more than I think fans are willing to admit. Guys like, first off, Milton Williams, who was just a game changer, an athletic freak at the defensive tackle position. It's really hard to replace that. Guys like Becton, who, again, was labeled, a bust at one point in his career, but, revitalized himself at the guard position. I believe we talked about him actually in the guard position early before that even happened when we were doing this last year, which was kind of fun.
He was so fun as a rookie, and then he got fat.
Yeah. He did have a great rookie season and just kind of went downhill, and there were high hopes for him with the Jets, and it was tough. But again, I think that the biggest, that the CJ Gardner Johnson really hurts in my mind. That move, I understand why they did it, but I think it might have been premature. Personally, I think they could have had him for one more year and still, able to get as much value out of him as possible. But I understand you have to give some deference to Howie Roseman at this point, and I will. So,
all right, yeah, let's jump into some of the details on this offense here. And so, one thing that you mentioned to me when I sent you that first graphic was that Shipley might actually be the running back too over AJ Dillon, who came in. So what's kind of the thought process with that? Is that being more of a 3-down kind of guy, or is it something different?
Yeah, so that's just like some rumblings that have been speculated. Again, like it's really hard to get fine detail until we start seeing them actually in training camp and through the preseason games and honestly throughout the season. But I know they like Shipley a lot. From everything I heard, they really like Shipley and they feel like he can handle it well. And you look at AJ Dillon, who's recovering from a pretty rough injury, and he does, the skill set is, again, I think you're right. I think Shipley is able to step in that 3-down role a little bit better. So it'll be interesting to see how that actually shakes out. But I wouldn't be surprised if Shipley gets more opportunities, if they're, rest, because you can't play Saquon every single down. So I wouldn't be surprised if Shipley gets those opportunities before AJ Dillon.
What was Dillon's injury?
I believe it was something with a nerve injury in his shoulder.
Okay.
And it took him out for the season, but I don't
I remember him not really playing last year. I didn't actually ever notice why that was.
Yeah, it was a neck stinger injury, and I think it was his nerves in his neck.
Okay.
It's not promising, but I mean, listen, he had the year off. His body had some time to recover. He didn't have the wear and tear of last year, so I mean, there can be some optimism there, and that's probably a better, more positive outlook on that injury for sure.
Okay, and so moving to the wide receiver spot, I have a question for you, but I want to pull something up to give you some baseline for it first, I guess. So I'm talking about blue chip players. And at wide receiver, I waffled back and forth as to whether I thought Devonta Smith was a blue chip player. And the guys I've narked as blue chip so far this year are Drake London, Jamar Chase, St. Brown, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas, Ladd McConkey, Puka, Justin Jefferson, Chris Olave, JSN, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, and Malik Neighbors. One, would you call Devonta Smith a blue chipper? And two, do you think he belongs with that group of players?
Absolutely, to both of those. He is the most underrated player on the Philadelphia Eagles, probably. And it's crazy to say as a starting receiver that he's one of the most underrated players. Honestly, maybe even the league. His ability to contort his body and make these incredible catches, it's so hard because his frame is so small, and like there are limitations to him, but what he does so well, and you can play him anywhere on the field. His slot percentage went up a lot last year. He to me can do anything a receiver can do, and honestly better. His contested catch and honestly tough catches. Like he just makes crazy catches. And AJ Brown is, known as the contested catch guy because that's kind of a hallmark of his game, that and run after catch. But what Devonta Smith, he's almost like a possession receiver, but plus. And you don't really think of him as a possession guy because he does so much more. And to me, that just elevates the team so much.
Okay. And like I said, I could kind of go either way on it, but I was just like, I've already got a ton of receivers as blue chips. Like, can I add another? But like, I feel like he's in that tier. And the thing that always stands out to me with Devonta Smith, whenever I notice like a big play from him, is how late his hands are. Like he doesn't give the corners anything which in zone coverage isn't as important, but like against man coverage is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I would just say that your list is really good. I really like
thank you.
Receivers. I would include Devonta Smith, but that I do think you have pinpointed.
I think where he struggles on the blue chip aspect of things is just opportunities. I mean, just about every single person you named is a one.
Sure.
And having AJ Brown, I mean, you're just not going to get the same opportunity, especially when you have Saquon running the ball like he does. The running ability of Jalen Hurts, a good tight end. I mean, I think athletically he's a blue chip, but I don't know if you could put him in that category just because the numbers probably aren't going to be there. So, I mean, like you replace Ladd McConkey with Devonta Smith in that Chargers offense, and he's much better in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a fair statement, I think.
I agree with that. I think that's also a very fair statement, and I think you qualified that really well by saying that athletically he absolutely fits the criteria, but production-wise, I can understand why there would be hesitation, and I totally understand why you wouldn't have him on the list. So
well, and frankly, for my blue chip list, I don't care that much about production. Like it's not that huge a deal because I want difference makers, like difference makers who haven't quite hit the production. I can live with, but I want guys who are going to be multipliers for the offense when I'm talking about them as a blue chip player, guys who make up for weaknesses elsewhere on the roster.
Did you say Brian Thomas was on the list? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, good, because that's a guy that I think fits that mold really well.
Love Brian Thomas.
Yeah. Now, so in a similar vein, but in a much shorter list, is Dallas Goedert a blue chipper, and does he belong with Trey McBride, Sam Laporta, Brock Bowers, and George Kittle as the only 4 blue chip tight ends I have right now?
I'd say probably not, but he's right under it.
That's tight end is so weird. There's like
So
this
weird.
tiny elite group, and there's like a giant, like they're almost there group.
And I think he fits in that category much better. What he does well, he does really well, but he is somewhat limited too. And like a big part is he's missed a bunch of games recently, which is a little bit concerning, especially because if you look at the rest of that tight end room, I don't feel that great about it, honestly. So, I mean, Calcaterra is a great pass catcher, but his blocking is still want more out of it. And then
an offense that's going to run as much read stuff as the Eagles, like the blocking does really matter for a tight end in this offense.
Absolutely. And although I was on another podcast and they were saying that one of the pros of having Calcaterra on the field is you get that horizontal stretch. You can run a lot more plays of tight end screens and ways to just spread the defense out. You feel comfortable in 12 personnel with that. But at the same time, you want some guy that can block too. It can block well too.
Now it helps when you have Mailata and Lane Johnson as your bookends too.
True
a lot. Now, sticking with the pass catching aspect here, say that AJ Brown or Devonta Smith, God forbid, go down, or even Jahan Dotson here. Who in the second or third string do you feel like could step up into a role and really grow it?
You know, my answer probably is going to surprise you. And it's a guy that was kind of talked about that the Eagles really love, but I haven't heard much buzz on him. It's Danny Gray. And I think that if he makes the team, he could force a role.
That's the guy I was looking for.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I loved what I saw from him, just from some of the 49ers clips I saw, and I think that he's an interesting player, and I think he easily could carve. I think it's a pretty weak receiver room outside of the top 2 guys. And I say that with a heavy heart because Jahan Dotson is a friend of mine. I coached him for a little bit, which was it. He is a great player, but again, he's not Devonta Smith or AJ Brown. But I think Danny Gray could easily force a role for sure.
Okay, and that's
Danny Gray, SMU.
Yep.
Yeah,
same guy.
His college tape, his speed was just different than everybody else. And like, I remember asking, we had Jeff Crisco on the pod for a 49ers preview. And we asked him, like, why doesn't Danny Gray get any run here? Like, what is happening with him? He was like, I think a 3rd round pick for them or something. And he just like disappeared. He was like, oh yeah, that was a Trey Lance draft pick. He just runs go routes basically. And Brock Purdy can't throw those routes, so he doesn't see the field. Like, was basically
Jalen Hurts can.
We got, yeah.
So,
Cowboys legend Trey Lance.
That's right. But let's get to the offensive line here a little bit. And frankly, I mean, I think it's still probably the best offensive line in the NFL. I'm not sure there are many other lines where I have 3 blue chippers on it, and where I feel like I'm not taking any chances by calling Mailata, Dickerson, or Lane Johnson blue chippers. I think it's just a fact. But at right guard, you have that hole where Mekhi Becton used to be. That's a big hole. That's like a 360-pound hole right there. Matt Pryor,
and literally.
Yeah. Matt Pryor has the size to fill that hole. I'm not sure he has the athleticism to fill it as well. Tyler Steen, I don't think he has the size. I've always had some questions with Steen's demeanor as a guard.
Sure.
Like, I remember his Alabama tape. He played like a tackle. He was a tackle, but he played like a tackle. And I always say, like, when I'm watching college tackle tape for guys who might kick inside, I want to see them playing tackle like a guard. Like, I want to see that nasty streak. And I didn't feel like that was quite there, which put him in a tweener stage for me. But how are you feeling about Steen versus Pryor versus maybe Kenyon Green kicking in there? Like, what's your view on that?
So you might have saw me look into the side. I was 100% listening to, but I actually just did a podcast about Steen's play. So he has 221 snaps in his NFL career. Guess how many sacks he's let up?
221.
0. He hasn't let up a single sack in his NFL playing time. And mind you, again, he was surrounded for most of it with the guys that you mentioned, but not all of them. I mean, he did struggle against the Giants, but he was with a backup offensive line at that time, and that was the Week 18 game. But at the same time, I feel pretty comfortable with Steen, and the reason why is he just needs to play at league average. If he can play league average, you can fill that hole pretty easily and feel comfortable with everybody else. But I don't think he'll be league average. I think Stoutland is really good at getting the best out of what the players can do. So I think that Stoutland, we'll train him up. It'll get him in a good enough spot where, and the talent he's surrounded by will, elevate him. And because of those factors, as long as he's league average, I mean, that hole is filled and you feel pretty comfortable with it. And if not, you have two other guys so that you could throw there.
Well, yeah, and frankly, I mean, I watched a lot of Matt Pryor last year when he was on the Bears, and honestly, I thought he was going to get a starting job somewhere this year. Not as good starter, but there's enough holes on the offensive line around the league where I was like, someone's going to pay Matt Pryor to start for them because he had a pretty solid year last year for the Bears. Run blocking is always going to be suspect because he can't move his feet, but pass blocking in a phone booth, he can't move his feet, but it doesn't matter because he's so damn wide. Like, he's such a clean pass blocker as a guard that I thought he'd get a gig somewhere. So I think that sets a high floor for the position there as well.
And that's really all you need, to be honest with you. And I feel like if you need to put him in, you feel comfortable with it because he's a veteran. And I actually think he's a dark horse for the starting spot. Like, I would not be surprised if they decide Steen needs a little bit more time to develop. And, they just say, Pryor, you're capable. We can throw you in. We know what we're getting out of you. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Pryor wins the job just because of that.
Yeah. Well, and I think Steen also, he has the tools to be. Sure. My entire question with him was always about demeanor. It was never, he had the tools to play guard in the NFL. I think that was clear. Now, Lane Johnson, how much longer can we expect this level of play from him? Because 1 or 2 years ago, I started to write him off, and I've just been blatantly wrong about that.
I think this might be his last year.
I would say it this way. In terms of physical decline, I don't think we'd have to have that conversation for a little bit. But in terms of him wanting to walk away, like saying, I've had a good enough career. I want to save my body. I've won one Super Bowl and maybe next year, maybe 2 Super Bowl. Who knows? I called my shot last year. I can't say. We'll save that for later.
Let's give him 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah, shoot. Why not? Then we could catch up with your former team potentially,
LeBron's calling. He has some issues with that statement, but anyways.
But regardless, I think that he doesn't have that much else to prove. I mean, he has 2 Super Bowls. He has done. He's been at the top of his position for a while. I think he could be physically capable of playing for another 5-6 years, possibly. I know that's absurd to say, but he is an elite level, generational talent. But I don't think he will play 5 to 6 years, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think, that makes sense to me because I look at his body type and he's not quite built like a Jason Peters, who is just the natural for the position. Absolutely. It's he's definitely a bit lankier, which means there's probably a lot more maintenance that goes in his day-to-day routine. Not that there wasn't for Jason Peters, but I feel like Jason Peters came out of the womb 300 pounds, and I'm not sure Lane Johnson was the same way.
No, I mean, listen, it's interesting you bring them both up because neither of them played O-line, starting.
Right.
So both Lane Johnson was a quarterback, and and Peters was a tight end. So it's really interesting that 2 of the best offensive linemen in Eagles history didn't necessarily play the position to start.
Wait, did Johnson not play tight end? Did I get that wrong?
So he played quarterback first.
Okay.
And I think he was actually an emergency quarterback, maybe the 4th.
I know you.
Which would have been catastrophic, but it would have been kind of interesting to see. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, Sam, random question. We went through this 2 or 3 years ago. If you could field an NFL team of 1 player and 52 clones of that player, who would that player be?
Oh, goodness. On the spot, too. Okay.
So I made this in Madden. I made a Lamar Jackson roster of all Lamar Jacksons, And I said, the O-line's going to suck, but I got Lamar Jackson's everywhere. As long as I can get the ball out, I'll be good. And Madden still made them good enough to actually block. So it was like, okay.
Yeah. How did you do
Lamar
that season?
They couldn't catch for their life.
I
many drop deep balls.
I mean, you could just ran, you figured it out.
No, they couldn't run block for their life.
Oh, no.
So they figured it out, but we started like 0-4. Once the development came in, it was like, okay, now they can catch 1 out of 5 or something.
I love that. I do have an answer now. And I feel pretty stupid for not thinking about it right away. It would be Jordan Mailata.
Okay.
Because if you look at his rugby career, I mean, man can move. Listen, there would be some problems, but I feel like you feel pretty good about having him on the D line, feel good about having him on the O line. I wouldn't mind him being a running back. We would be a very run heavy team, and we would give up a lot of points on the pass.
Yeah.
I said Myles Garrett or Trent Williams, but
I like that. Those are great picks as well.
So the one thing that I didn't even think about with Lamar Jackson that I noticed after I did it, so many sacks. Because I just zero blitz constantly.
Yeah.
You'll block some of them, but you're not blocking all of them, and they're there like that.
Jacksons.
Yeah, but okay, let's get back to this offensive line now. Mailata, he's really jumped up the last couple of years, like to really being this blue chip player. I feel like last year was the first year where I really felt confident that like, okay, he's there now. Like there's not projection here anymore. He's there. Do you think there's much more ceiling for him to go, or do you think that he's kind of at the height of his potential at this point?
He's a unicorn, in the sense that
he has 6 toes.
Does he actually have 6 toes?
I think so.
That's actually really interesting. I didn't know that.
That feels like an unfair advantage.
That is it's like Michael Phelps, like the flip
extra balance. Maybe, did I make that up?
Sounded believable. All that to say that I think he is still learning the game, to be honest with you. I think that his ceiling is so much higher than what we've seen, which is kind of crazy to say. But if you think about it, he hasn't played football for that long. I mean, he has physical tools. He has the athleticism, the ability. I think there's no reason to say that he couldn't get better and won't get better, to be honest with you.
Okay, then that makes sense. I haven't watched his tape closely enough to feel like I really know that. Now, Last question I have on the offensive line. Oh, I know he's got some pipes. Or I guess like comment on the offensive line. I love the Cameron Williams pick for them just because get him in Stoutland's room, and like I hated his tape at Texas, but the athleticism is clear as day. If you can get him right mentally, golden.
My thing is, if he stayed another year, like he could have been like a 2nd round pick, maybe. If he had more time, he didn't play that many games. I think he played like 14 games total in his college career. So there just wasn't a lot. And what you saw, again, there were some limitations and issues.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hate to even say limitations. It was just like missed assignments and like confusion, which with Stoutland, you feel like there's a good chance that might be able to get fixed. Now, the question I had is a player that I liked a lot, but why did the Eagles draft Drew Kendall when he can't play guard?
Yeah, honestly, for me, it's a little trust the process thing, and I hate saying that because, like, and someone who loves analysis and someone who's really upset with the Sixers, I hate saying trust the process. You got to be a little critical, but what they saw from Drew Kendall, I think that at worst he could be a backup center, and at best they could give him some time to learn and develop the tools. And I think you're right. There are some problems with him playing guard. But I think if anyone can figure it out, again, Stoutland. And that might just be my clear go-to answer every time when I don't know.
Or, I guess, do you think Juergens can play guard?
I do think Juergens can play guard. I mean, he did play guard already.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He did.
Yeah, he played that right guard position.
That starts to make some more sense to me then. If someone goes down, and you want to put Juergens at guard, you feel like you could put Kendall at center then and be okay. It's just I had a hard time making a practical reason why you would draft a backup center because it's just it feels like such a weird thing to do in the league currently.
Sure. And like when you think about it, when Jurgens was hurt and Dickerson had to play center, like they had that was the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want to be in that situation again, or do you want someone who has like a high floor that you could just throw in at center and feel comfortable with?
Yeah.
And worst case scenario, I mean, he's a depth piece. Best case scenario, you can try to figure out how to rotate him if he needs to. But I think that depth piece is not a bad thing at all.
No, I mean, the guy's a pit bull, man. Like, I mean, he just wants to kill people. And his dad played in the leagues. He's got the bloodlines. Like, there's a lot to like in Drew Kendall's profile. But let's kick it on over to the defense here. And starting with the D-line, can you just wax poetic for us for a couple minutes about Jalen Carter and how special this dude is?
Yeah, I mean, listen, generational player. I know I've said that a couple times, but Jalen Carter could potentially be the best NFL player in the entire league once he reaches his potential. I just have not seen someone of his caliber in a long time. I mean, it's very an Aaron Donald-esque and truly one of the best football prospects ever that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, he was my number one player in that draft class. I desperately wanted the Bears to draft him and said they traded back and gave him to Philly, which
we gave you a 4th round pick.
Yeah, I get it because the Bears are also a dumpster fire who can't really handle someone who doesn't have their P's and Q's lined up. But like, I don't know. I still have a little heartburn over that as much as I love Darnell Wright. Like, it's just, that dude is so special. But Jordan Davis next to him. Has he been a disappointment to this point in his career? And do you expect him to kind of break out some, or do you feel like he did break out some last year?
I wouldn't say disappointment. I think there have been disappointing opportunities. Moments. And he really hasn't put himself in a position to, take advantage of his size and of what he could be in this league, especially as a first rounder. And I can see why disappointment is a fair categorization for his career so far. But I like to believe that everything that he said and people have said about his conditioning and improving and him wanting to get better and be on the field, I like to buy into that hype a little bit. I know the thing is, as you guys know, during training camp, during the offseason, every team is the best version of themselves. They're all going to win the Super Bowl, and there's all these
best year of their life.
Exactly. So I think that basically I'd like to believe his conditioning get better. I think he does well when he's on the field. He takes up space. He's a really good at taking up space and moving guys. He does have some issues on his conditioning is a problem. I mean, you need to be able to have him on the field often, and they probably won't play him much in passing downs. You won't see him much on 3rd and long. Like, that's not going to change. But I do think he could maximize the opportunities he is on the field. These 1st and 10s, these 2nd and long or 2nd and short. There's going to be situations where you're going to see him on the field, and you see him hopefully make an impact, and you'll see his conditioning, if it improves the way it's supposed to and the way it's been projected. I do think he can break out. I think that's fair to say. And what a breakout looks for him isn't necessarily in sacks, right? I would be really happy if he could keep taking on people and try to make it easier for Carter or the other defensive linemen to get to, the quarterback and even in the run game. And he's very good in the run game. So that's his strength. So if he does what he does in the run game now, I mean, you're fine with it. But if you can get him a little bit better in the pass game, you feel great.
I mean, from my point of view of what I've seen from Vic Fangio defenses back when he was with the Bears and with other teams, what I've seen of it, I would expect him to put Davis head on over the center and say, you need to commit another man because this guy's going to destroy your center. And then you play Carter and you play the edge rushers off of that from wider alignments. But I mean, was that what happened last year? I feel like I just didn't see him in the field that much.
Yeah, no, not really. And in fact, they were having him play a little bit of 3-tech. Like, it's a little bit weird. And they had Carter at 1. So it's interesting. And honestly, I love that there's some versatility and you can play them around a little bit. And I trust Fangio to come up with the best utilization of these guys. I think at this point, I implicitly trust him. And that's all I'll say on that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, he's the genius. Like I can't blame you one bit there. Now, what type of snap counts do you expect Moro Jomo to see in this defense versus like a Ty Robinson coming in there? Do you expect either of their snap counts to rival Jordan Davis?
Yeah, I think Moro Jomo probably will play the most out of the defensive tackle rotation. I feel like he's and I think he's going to take on that Milton Williams role a little bit more. And I'm not saying he'll play as many snaps as Milton Williams, because it even took Milton Williams a while to get to the snap count he got to. And that just may be kind of how the rotation worked out when he was there. But I do think some of those snaps are going to be taken by Moro Jomo, who's going to have similar efficiency to Milton Williams, but not to the same level. I mean, it'll probably be like, if he can get like 70% of the production of Milton Williams, you feel really, really good about it.
Yeah. Now, has there ever been an answer as to why Moro Jomo fell to the 7th round or whatever it was in that draft? Because I had a 4th round grade on him, and I feel like he's lived up to that.
Yeah, I think it was injury. I think there was like this. Yeah. I do kind of remember it was like he either had like two. I'm feel like I'm conflating his story with Jordan Hicks, which again was a while back before that. But I remember Jordan Hicks fell also because of injuries, and I'm trying to remember if it was the ACL injuries or there was some injury that he had that was repeated, and that was the reason he fell.
Okay, now with this depth, I mean, I feel like we talked a little bit about pre-show. I feel like Fangio, if he's running anything similar to what I saw him running with the Bears, it's a lot of 2 defensive tackle sets, really, where like you're not asking because you only got 2 guys in the field at a time. You're not talking about a general 3-4 like you used to see more of.
Sure,
having 4, maybe 5 guys is doable when you're playing that much 2 defensive tackle, but do you see many concerns with like the depth of Thomas Booker and Byron Young and Gabe Hall and Ty Robinson there?
So yes and no. Ty Robinson's obviously unproven, but I think he could probably start on a bad team and do pretty well. Obviously, I think he needs some development. What's interesting about Ty Robinson is you could also play him on the edge, which is an interest. I know it's talked about a little bit. But his versatility is nice, and I think he'll be a game wrecker once he develops, and maybe that'll just be a rotational piece, but I think there's a lot of value in that. I know the Eagles love Booker. I know that they really like him and think he can step in. But to be honest with you, if he's playing more than like 6 snaps a game, I think it's like, I don't really love that. It doesn't elevate your defensive line. As for Byron Young, I still think that whichever team drafted Byron Young drafted the wrong Byron Young. I think the Raiders and Rams. I know that was so.
That's why there's the period after his name to make sure it pulled in on the VLOOKUP to the right guy.
It's hilarious. I really do believe that they picked the wrong Byron Young.
Me too. I definitely think so.
But listen. The depth concerns are valid. I don't know too much about Gabe Hall. I don't know how he'll fare.
Baylor Bear, athletic freak.
There you
Not
go.
Very good at football, but he can jump out of the stadium.
They love
college.
They love athletic freaks, so that makes sense that he's part of the team. But I'm not as familiar with his game, so I'm not going to necessarily comment on it. But I will say that if he makes the team, I mean, there's a reason he makes the team. So
yeah. And then so at edge, you guys got Nolan Smith coming back, who. I mean, I think Nolan Smith is a dream fit for a Fangio defense. I remember watching his tape and feeling like this is miniature Khalil Mack, like with just his play style. It felt so similar.
Sure.
But Jalix Hunt jumping into a starting role. How do you feel about him going into this year?
Yeah, I mean, look, both of those guys got hot at the right time. I mean, they both had incredible playoff performances. And, you feel pretty good about letting the young guys kind of run a little bit. I mean, losing Josh Sweat, you don't feel necessarily great about that part because, I mean, Josh Sweat did really well, especially during the playoffs as well. But I think what we saw from Nolan Smith and particularly Jalix Hunt, who is a guy that, when he was drafted, I didn't expect him to see the field for at least a year. Like I was kind of pleasantly surprised that he saw the field as much as he did, and even more pleasantly surprised how he performed when he saw the field. So I feel pretty good about those guys. As far as the other guys, like I think Uche is going to have potentially a role. I think Aziz Ojulari more likely is going to have a role. And honestly, APR the rookie out of Virginia Tech, could easily get some playing time. I don't think he'll get a lot, and it'd probably be, just to give the guys a little bit of a break. But I'm interested to see how he plays in the training camp and for preseason.
Yeah, I do like the way they attacked it with Ojulari and Uche, because those are both guys who, when they're healthy, they can get after the passer. Like, I don't know how much they can play the run, how much you can ask them to really set a hard edge, but like, that they can do that one thing well in the rotation that you might be asking them to play.
Absolutely.
At linebacker, I mean, was last year repeatable for Zach Bond?
Yeah, I think it is. Maybe, it's he had like an all-pro season, so it's hard to say that that's repeatable. But I think in terms of how he played and what he's capable of, it's certainly repeatable. Will he 100% get as, much recognition and as I think that people will attack the defense differently because of how well he played, which will create value. I don't know if his stat line would necessarily be the same. And again, linebacker stats are kind of tough to, say that this linebacker is really good besides tackles. Like, it's like hard to define what is a good linebacker.
I mean, if you even try to use PFF grades, they're so different. For like, Roquan Smith was like a terribly graded linebacker for so long. And I was watching him. I'm like, Roquan is not bad. Yeah, Roquan is very good.
There's some positions that they just have not figured out how to, best quantify them, unfortunately. And that's an example of one.
Which it's hard to do. I get it. I mean, I try to make grades for offensive linemen, and they're wrong a lot of the time. Like, it's just a hard thing to do.
Offensive line is probably the hardest one to do, honestly.
But so beyond Bond at linebacker, Nakobe Dean, was it a torn ACL for him? Or was it something different?
I'm kind of blank. I know it might have been his quad.
Here, I can find out. So it was a torn patellar tendon in his left knee. That's
still not great.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to miss time this year, I'm sure.
Yeah, 100%.
But so behind him, I figured Jihad Campbell, first round draft pick, would be slotting into that spot. But you mentioned that he might not be ready, which I wasn't even aware of an injury. Or were you saying just mentally?
No, injury. Yeah, he had the surgery, so I don't know if he'll be ready yet either. But and that's it does create somewhat of an issue. But you have Smile Mondin and you have Jeremiah Trotter, who could easily step up. And look, what you're getting out of those guys, Smile is a little bit, who knows? I mean, I liked his tape.
Really? What did you like about his tape? Because I watched his tape trying to find it, and I just felt like I was watching a free safety who was just like it was doing his job, but never stood out to me. So like, as you're more of a quarterback guy in general, so you probably see some more of the subtleties than I do. What did you like about his tape?
I think I liked exactly what you just said. I mean, to me, he looked like a safety too, and I just loved he can move. His movement was good, and look, he wasn't making always the best directions. There was a lot of wasted movement, but I see a moldable piece.
Okay, that's fair.
That's I mean, his athletic numbers were also ridiculous, and for me, I don't mind having a smaller, like, and he's not smaller, but like what I'm saying is I would take a smaller, more athletic linebacker sometimes than a guy that's built like a brick wall,
Well, Jeremiah Trotter's a bit of a brick wall, I think,
and he moves like a brick wall.
Yeah,
for sure.
But he's got strong instincts. I will always give him that. He knows what he's looking at, and he reacts quickly.
If he has to play, he will be there. They will target him specifically. Unfortunately, I mean, I do think he has really good football IQ and, like you said, really good instincts. But just because you know where to be and when to be there doesn't mean you can always get there.
Yeah, that's fair. And then to the cornerback room, I mean, I felt like it's fair to put Quinyon Mitchell in the blue chip territory at this point, just because he was that caliber player coming out. I think we all felt that way. It was just proving the jump in competition, and he proved it. Like, physically, he had that. But I wavered a little. I thought about doing it with Cooper DeJean, but I ended up pulling that back because I think that he is a little scheme specific and very valuable in this scheme, but I'm not sure he'd be the same caliber player in a different scheme, which is kind of one of the things I look at when I'm calling a guy a blue chip.
I think that's totally valid. And I think that he is elevated by the scheme, but I do think his natural ability and honestly instincts and football IQ are just as good as anybody else in the league.
Yeah, very strong. I agree with that. But looking at the potential weak spot in this cornerback room is Kelly Ringo. How are you feeling about Ringo coming into this year?
You know, he has his strengths and weaknesses, but I don't think it's going to be easy to replace Slay. I think people don't appreciate how much Slay did for the team last year. He was a big part of it, and even though he wasn't Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper DeJean, everyone was excited about those guys, and you know, fans got a little frustrated with Slay at some points during his career. But he is going to be a tough part to replace. He really is. Ringo is limited in some capacities, particularly in like lateral quickness. He struggles there a little bit, but he's physical. He has a pretty good size. So there are ways you can kind of mitigate some of his weaknesses and kind of elevate his strengths, and you feel pretty good about it. One of the ways that you could do it is, you know, when they're running cover 6, you can run the safety towards him and make him have a little support, make him run the cloud coverage, and you feel pretty good about that. And then you run the cover 4 side to Quinyon Mitchell, and I think that's probably what you'll see a lot of half shells to his side.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Now, how does that? And this is probably getting a little in the weeds, but like, when you're talking about the match quarters and the match 6 that Fangio runs, how do you feel about those lateral limitations that he might have when playing those match coverages?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be challenges, and when they get into those situations, I think teams can take advantage of it, and they'll get some opportunities, and they'll get some licks against them for sure. I do think that I would assume Fangio would have something in there to help mitigate that. And I'm not entirely sure how or what he would do, but I imagine if consistently he's being attacked on, you know, routes that require lateral quickness, they'll either bring a linebacker up or down, or they'll do something to help bracket that player if they expect a matchup to be really challenging.
And hopefully that's not Jeremiah Trotter. That's not
Exactly.
I was kind of surprised that Dory Jackson isn't starting over Ringo, to be honest. I mean, I know he's had injury issues, but I feel like he's been a solid corner in the league for a while.
Yeah. Listen, I could 100% see that being the case. And when they signed him, I kind of thought that was what's going to happen. But everything I've heard is that they really like Ringo and they want to see what they got. Now, let's say Ringo does terribly. Dory Jackson probably slots in there, and you feel okay about it.
Well, Jay's Kelly Ringo's #1 fan, so.
Yeah?
No. Thought he was so overrated coming out of college just because of the pick 6 of the national championship.
Sure.
But let's take a look at safety before getting to some wrap-up thoughts here. But
Sure.
So the depth charts all had Sidney Brown in there. Our initial graphic, I ended up putting in Makuba on your suggestion. And I mean, hey, I had a first-round grade on Andrew Makuba. I get that. But like, why do you think he's going to take this job that Sidney Brown is currently slotted in for on the depth charts that are out there? Very unofficial, but.
Before I answer that, can you tell me why you had a first-round grade on Makuba?
Just instincts, man. He just sees the game the way that it's supposed to be seen from that position. And like, he's probably going to get hurt at some point because he throws his body around, but the guy played a ton of nickel corner. The guy's played some outside corner, and he's got good free safety instincts. Like, those three combined, the possibilities are limitless.
And you know who loves that?
Vic Fangio.
All those things. That is Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio likes smaller safeties too. He likes guys that have great instincts. I mean, he fits everything Fangio wants. Sidney Brown, on the other case, you know, they're not from what I understand, they're not a huge fan of him, and you can kind of see that. They put in oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. They and that should show you something. The other safety that they had last year over him on multiple occasions. And I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. But either way,
Gardner Johnson?
No. It was McCollum. I think Tristan McCollum is who I'm thinking of.
Okay.
They put him in over Sidney Brown multiple times. And Sidney Brown also has that same killer instinct as Makuba, but he's reckless. I mean,
everyone wanted to compare him to Troy Polamalu coming out. I remember that.
But Troy Polamalu was selective when he was aggressive. And when he was, he was, right? Like 100%. But I remember distinctly there was a play where Sidney Brown took out his own teammate. There's just things like that. He just runs first, asks questions later. And like some people love that. But I do think it could be detrimental to the team. And I do think that there are issues and they're trying to figure out where he fits and how he fits. I'm not saying Sidney Brown's a bad player. I think Makuba is exactly what Fangio wants. I think it was 100% a Fangio pick. I didn't love the pick at first, by the way, which is why one of the reasons I was asking you about that. And again, maybe I was a little biased because, Penn State guy was still there that I really liked in Winston.
He's a beast.
But at the same time, when I've thought about it, it really makes sense that Makuba is their guy. And even though, the depth chart could start out exactly how you've predicted, I do think Makuba will be the guy by the end of the year. And I don't have much doubt in that.
So I have a proposition of what the Eagles should do in this scenario. They should trade Sidney Brown to the Bengals so he can play with his twin brother and he can be good again, because twins have magic powers when they're together and they're broken when they're separated.
Everyone knows this. That's true. That should 100% be a thing. What would be his draft compensation, or what would you look for in that trade?
Oh boy, I don't know. Based on the selling that I've heard here, a 5th round pick.
Yeah, I think the Eagles would take a 5th round pick and feel pretty good about it.
If it's the Bengals, you'll probably place them for like a first and Jamar Chase.
But no guaranteed money.
No
guaranteed. That is one of the worst.
Won't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah, I don't even understand that front office.
What do they think? This is the NBA? You don't get money here.
I actually find it hysterical because Duke Tobin runs the Bengals front office, right?
Mm-hmm.
His dad, I believe, Vince Tobin, came up through the Bears under George Halas, who was notoriously cheap, and his negotiating tactics were to insult players. George Halas told Jim McMahon that he was a undersized punk QB with bad eyes because he had like vision issues, and then he threw the contract at him, and Jim McMahon was like, "I'm not signing that," and walked out of the office. But like, I feel every time I see these issues with the Bengals, I'm like, it's just George Halas.
Honestly, that's actually such interesting information that I did not know, and it maybe could explain a little bit of how they got this way.
The negotiation tactics. But
sure.
Anyways, Reed Blankenship, I feel like he's really blossomed into a really quality player after. He was a mid-round draft pick, but he really shined in the Senior Bowl. Undrafted. Okay, I thought he at least went in the mid-round. He's really become something there, and I feel like. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like he's a really strong split safety option for you guys that really gives you that versatility to be able to run different coverages.
100%. Yeah, I am very impressed with Blankenship. I think he obviously exceeded all expectations, but he does his role really well. And, I think he's a good safety in the league, and it's good.
All right, Jay, where are we going with these bets, these thoughts? What are you thinking?
All right, so when you look at the win total, we're sit at 10.5 minus 165, under 10.5 plus 140, playoffs minus 385, missing the playoffs plus 285, winning the division at minus 135, and Super Bowl at 750. I don't see a flaw here. I'm thinking 17-0. I'm thinking Super Bowl, NFC East repeat champs
for the first time in 20 years or whatever, 10 years.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know why they can't go 17-0. You have a top 30 quarterback. You have the best running back in the league. You have two of the best tackles, maybe the best wide receiver, 1 and 2 wide receiver in the league. Solid defense. Nick Sirianni, hell of a coach. Signed him to a lifetime contract. So Yeah, I don't see where this could go wrong. Super Bowl or bust.
Hey, love it.
Sam, where do you see value on these bets here? If you're a betting man, if not, just say so, and we'll nix it.
So here's the thing about betting. When I worked for Penn State football, I wasn't able to bet for the longest time, so I never got into it. That doesn't mean I can't comment about what these are at, because I do think that, I do think they'll probably be above on the wins. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think superstition aside, I think they have a really good chance of winning the NFC East. So I feel pretty good about those kind of bets. I don't know if 17-0 is quite possible. That would be incredible. I did prepare.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
I
agree. Exactly. And look, saying Super Bowl or bust last year was such a fun thing to say, and I'm so happy it came true. But some teams rebuild. This team is reloading, and I'm excited to see the journey. And I do think the journey will be more than 10 wins. I do think they'll make the playoffs, and I do think they have a good chance of winning the NFC East.
Jalen Hurts, top 5 quarterback in the NFC East.
That is true. That is
without a doubt. Damn. Who's the biggest threat for the division?
The Washington Commanders. I think that's the easy answer. I think it's. You don't agree, Jay?
No, I don't agree.
I'd love to hear your opinion.
We're about to get to Washington here in a second. I think they got really, really lucky last year in a few games. I expect Jaden Daniels to have a little bit of regression.
Sure.
The Terry McLaurin situation worries me. I don't think they're going to be able to consistently run the ball unless Jaden Daniels is making it happen on his feet. I don't trust Dan Quinn in big games. A lot of reasons. I love the under for Washington this year. I think they're 7-10 football team. If I was a Philadelphia fan, I'd be worried about the Cowboys. Dak has absolutely owned the division since he's been there, 33-8, 9-4 versus the Eagles, 11-2 versus the Commanders, 13-2 versus the Giants. They were beat up last year. They're going to get healthy, but they have a bunch of doofuses as running things down there. So you have that going for you. Probably be a more structured, well-ran organization. But a lot of talent coming back and they were hurt last year. Pickens coming in. I feel like that's either going to be boom or bust for them. So, I mean, to me, it's Philly and Dallas, and maybe I think Giants are sneaky. Could be sneaky good. I think they could get up there to 8 or 9.
Their D-line is nasty.
I don't know if they'll compete for the division, but let's say Dallas.
Games.
If Dallas and Philly have a couple of injuries, and like a 9-8 team wins the division, I think the Giants could be right there in it with them. But if the team that wins the division wins over 10 games, which historically is what we've seen, kind of that 11-6, 12-5 sort of range, I think it's Philly and Dallas.
So one other thing I'll say that I think is interesting: Commanders are the oldest team in the NFL, so even though they have a rookie quarterback, their win window with who they have right now, it's not great. They're gonna have to do a soft rebuild, I think, at some point very soon, just because of how old these guys are. But because of that, I think they're going to be more all in, and whether that actually shows up on the football field or not, that's kind of why I think there'll be a problem, or could be a problem. I don't think Jaden Daniels is going to have a regression. My concern with Jaden Daniels is what we saw early on in the season. I think he could get hurt very easily. I think he puts himself in some tough positions, and I don't love his frame. And so I do have concerns about that. And if that's the case, then take the Commanders out of it. I do think Dallas could be a challenge, but I don't think that they have a competent organization. Like you said, I don't think their head coach, I don't trust that being a good situation.
He wasn't a good offensive coordinator.
Yeah, so that's a weird elevation. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball well. I think Dak Prescott is one of the most underrated and one of the best quarterbacks.
See, that's where me and Q have been talking about it this summer. What they've done with that offensive line, I think they're going to be able to run the ball very well.
Well,
I think they might have.
But who's running the ball?
Yeah, I think Pookie Williams still got some juice in him. Blue might be able to get it done. I don't know. Shit.
Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders. Yeah. Miles Sanders go out there and rush 1,400 yards. Why not? I mean, I think if any of those running backs are competent, they're going to be able to run the piss out of the football. I mean, I think their O-line might be top 5 in the league, run blocking O-line.
Totally possible, but I think they're going to be limited by the personnel that they have in the backfield.
Which could be true.
5 years ago.
I think one of them gets it done.
5 years ago, would that have been a concern for you?
Which part?
The running back part. Who's running the football?
For
5
Dallas?
years ago. I feel like there's been a shift in the NFL in the last 2 years where running backs have really started to matter again for some reason. Yeah. I'm not sure why, but 5 years ago, that wouldn't even been a question. It would have been just, it's a committee. It's fine. We have the blockers.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think there is a resurgence on running back value, and I'm for it.
I think the difference is we are just seeing great running backs on great teams.
Sure.
Which for the longest time we didn't. And then all of a sudden you put a Saquon Barkley on a team like the Eagles. You're like, oh shit, running backs matter again. And it's like, no. You put Christian McCaffrey on the 49ers. You put Saquon Barkley on the Eagles. Like you put Derrick Henry on the Ravens.
Good teams are investing in good running backs.
Yeah.
Which is like you said, that's the shift. But it's also the teams are recognizing it, which means that the fans are recognizing it.
Yeah, but a bad team taking like the Giants taking Saquon when they did. He didn't do nothing for that franchise.
No, I mean he sold a lot of jerseys for sure.
Does your running back matter more when you're facing more too high?
Yeah, I would say so, and I think that the league has shifted towards that for sure.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking through we went through the Legion of Boom stage that went all cover 3 everywhere. And now we're shifting back to the too high. And before Legion of Boom, we were in big too high stage against, the Tom Brady's and Peyton Manning's in their prime. It was a very stop the pass league. And then it shifted and now it's shifted back. And I'm almost wondering if that's where it comes from, because when you have fewer guys in the box, you're having the running back who can maximize that in those moments matters more when you're getting those moments more.
Yeah, I mean, look, the league is a passing league, but when you adjust for a passing league, I mean, there are going to be, some shifts that shift in the other direction. And I think you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head. I would want to run the ball against too high as much as I can and keep them honest and then hit them with play action. I mean, there are things that you want to do and create. And I think you can create that with a rushing attack that you haven't been able to necessarily create in the past.
Interesting stuff. But Sam, we'll let you get out of here. Can you tell everyone one more time where they can find your work?
Sounds good. So you can find me on Inside the Birds. I have a segment called Inside the Data. You can find me also with Eagles Eric on the Eagles Edge. Find me on Twitter, Sam_Finkel. You can find me. I also do some, if you're interested in the NIL stuff, I do a lot of writing about that for my firm. I also appear on a podcast breaking down sports law, particularly about college with John Gross. That one's through Pack Hub. It's called Around the Huddle. So just hopefully I'll be able to do some more stuff with you guys because I have a blast every time. So
Texas Tech loves NIL.
Yes,
that we did that they did. Well, I think there's one thing left to say, and that's ELGSES Eagles.
Thank you, Mayor Parker. I appreciate that.
All right, take it easy, Sam. Thanks for jumping on with us.
I'll be in Philly week 1.
Yeah, you going to the game?
No. I would just be in Philly.
The tickets were ridiculous. I wanted to go to that game, but it was like $700 for tickets.
Yeah, actually, I think I might technically be in New York for that game, but I'll be in Philly for week 1 of NFL.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, you should come out with us, Sam.
I would love to.
We'll get some drinks and stuff, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely let me know. I'd love to.
All right. Take it easy, man.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you guys.
All right, bye. All right.
I think Eagles 11-6.
11-6 for the Birds. I mean, I think they hit over 10. I think it's going to be a tough. They're going to get everyone's best shot all year. I think that it's going to be a tougher season on them, but they're still making the playoffs. I think that they have a strong chance of the division, and I think they have as good a chance in the playoffs as anybody. But
Yeah,
I think it's going to be
absolutely.
a pretty wide open NFC though. I'm really excited for the NFC playoffs this year.
Yeah, should be incredible. All right, now on to the Washington Commanders. All right. Bring in Laramie Tunsil, bring in Fat Debo, bring in Kinlaw, Dietrich Wise, and Jonathan Jones. It's kind of what he was just talking about right here. A lot of old people here. Yeah, you have Laramie Tunsil anchoring your left tackle, who still played at a pretty high level, probably not where he was 3 or 4 years ago, but still decent left tackle.
Was he ever a great left tackle?
No, better than league average. I think he's hovered around that like 4th to 8th best.
Yeah, I feel like he's always been like above average, but he's never fully realized his potential.
Yeah, never been really hit that elite status, I don't think. Tyler Biotish at center coming back for him. Then Andrew Wiley, right tackle. And then you have the shining young stud, Jaden Daniels, who I think I called this last year. I mean, I said he's going to have a great rookie year, and I think we're going to see regression out of him year 2. He didn't agree with me there. I think we do see some regression from Jaden Daniels. What are your thoughts here, just looking at this team as a whole?
So, I mean, a lot of it comes out of Jaden Daniels. Like, I mean, last year on this podcast, I said I thought this team was going to have the number 1 pick. Clearly, I was wrong. But before that, in my draft analysis, before I knew where Jaden Daniels would land, there's a video out there of me saying, I think Jaden Daniels has a good chance to win Rookie of the Year just because I think he's the guy who's going to walk in the league and have the most dangerous set of tools and experience to match with it of just being able to do some really impressive stuff off the bat. I didn't like the landing spot for him because I thought their offensive line was going to be just miserable. And I didn't think they had any talent on defense. Clearly I was wrong. But with Jaden Daniels, man, my head says there's regression. My head says that their offense was just a touch gimmicky and there's going to be some adjustments league-wide to it. But then, man, my gut's telling me, like, this dude might be just so talented that doesn't matter.
It might be. They got away with a lot last year.
They did.
They won some games they probably shouldn't have won. The schedule kind of fell their way a couple of times throughout the season where they were catching some teams.
You mean like a Hail Mary in the final 2 seconds or a missed field goal by the Bengals in the final, like, 10 seconds or whatever it was, or they had like 3 or 4 games where they won in the last minute on something that was just like rip your hair out, numbingly painful.
Yeah, they probably should have beat the Cowboys the first time they played them, and then they played a depleted Cowboys team the second time around and got the win the second time. So I'll call that a wash because they probably should have won the first game. And so, I mean, that's a wash. But yeah, I mean, I don't really trust Dan Quinn. Cliff can get really gimmicky at times, especially if he gets nervous or if he gets in a situation where he feels like his back's against the wall. He can get very gimmicky. If Cliff goes out there and runs the offense and runs it how he wants to, I think we're going to be very good. I'm worried if I'm a Commanders fan about the McLaurin situation. I'm worried about Debo possibly having to play a big role in this team. I think Debo excels at being like the third option, which if
at this point in his career.
Yeah. So, I mean, they really need McLaurin to play well for him. And I don't know what it was last year with Robinson. I thought he was fantastic, and they kept just feeding Eckler. Eckler had a good year. He looked like he had some tread left on the tires. I don't expect that at all this year out of Eckler.
I think it came down to pass protection and route running. Like they asked the running back to do a lot I think a lot of reads in the pass protection game, and like whether they're protecting, whether they're chipping, getting out in a route, like the running back was really active in their pass game in general, and that's Eckler's territory, and not really Robinson's.
I feel like everything has to go right for this team to have success this year. And I feel like just a little bit can go wrong and the wheels can fall off. Like I feel like they're kind of skating on very thin ice.
So that's okay. I'll be honest here. That's how I was feeling. And then I heard everybody else start saying it. And now I'm nervous. I've heard like 3 different podcasts today, people saying that, and like a few other people I know who do like Bears content and NFL content.
Everything I've heard is just they're going to compete for the NFC. They're going to go back out there and go back to NFC Championship game again. They're going to challenge the Eagles. It's a 2-team race for that division. All I've heard is just how good this team's going to be.
Well, so here's where I'm going with this, though. I thought they were going to suck last year. And all these people who I'm hearing now saying that they're going to regress are the same people who I heard last year. And I was like, yeah, they're smart and they agree with me. Okay. So now I'm like nervous about it because like they were clearly wrong last year. I don't know if these people are hedging their bets or if they're like they were wrong last year. I was wrong last year, and I don't want to be
I thought they were going to be solid last year.
Overcompensating for that. You did. Kudos to you. But I think that there's a degree that kicks in for me now of like, am I just saying this because I was wrong last year and I don't want to be wrong on the grand scheme? Or do I really think they're going to pull back? I'm coming back to, I don't trust Marshawn Lattimore. I don't trust Debo. I don't trust Laramie Tunsil to not commit penalties. I don't trust Von Miller to get sacks. I don't trust Javon Kinlaw to still be that good.
Don't trust Tyler Biotish to stay healthy.
Yeah, like there's a lot here that I don't trust. I do like the way they've built some of this. Like I think they've done a really nice job with their O-line the last few years as far as the way they've built it. I think getting like Josh Connerly in there is a steal. At 29, he was my number 2 offensive tackle in the class. And you still have Wiley, who's solid. Coleman kicking inside to guard, I think, is ideal for him. Allegretti and Biotish weren't an issue last year. So, like, I do think they built a pretty solid O-line here. I just don't trust much of anything else on this roster outside of Jaden Daniels if he can continue to be the guy that he was last year. But then I think through that scheme, and I'm like, man, there was a lot of simple in there, and I don't know how that lasts.
Yeah. And yeah, I feel like if Jaden Daniels is the one carrying you, can your defense play well enough to slow down some of the offenses you're going to have to face this year? I'm not sure that they can, especially looking at the DBs they have here. And so maybe Jaden Daniels can play a style where he can take over a game, but it's in 12-play drives, and they can wear out a defense and keep their defense off the field. But I feel, looking at this team, I feel like their best chance for success offensively is going to be making big plays, scoring quick. Like I just don't see a formula where they can slow down the game.
Yeah, and I want to say I should be fact checked on this, but I want to say that Jaden Daniels' deep ball efficiency last year was extremely high, and that's not something that tends to carry over year to year. It tends to even out over the course of multiple years to back towards league average. So that's another part where, like, I think a lot of their offense did rely on some of those deep balls that were hit that I'm not sure they're going to continue to get as consistently.
Yeah, if I'm a Commanders fan, I'm very, very cautiously optimistic. But I know they're banging their chest, coming off the NFC Championship appearance. I mean, they beat the Lions in the playoffs, beat them pretty fucking good. So, I mean, who am I to tell them they're not going to go back out there and do it again? Dan Quinn had a lot of success in Atlanta all those years.
If there's one thing Dan Quinn can do, it's get his players to believe. You know,
Mhm.
like these guys, I gotta hand it to Dan Quinn. That defense last year lacked so much talent, but he had them playing with their hair on fire.
I mean, you hear about the guys that are still with the Cowboys that talked about when Dan Quinn left. You saw the guys that followed him to Washington, and I know teams don't or players don't look at division rivalries the same way as fans do, but still, what would we see? 6 players follow him? It's kind of unheard of.
Yeah.
And offensively and defensively, it wasn't just defensive guys going over there with him.
Yeah, but let's get into this offense. So got 2 blue chippers here in Jaden Daniels, who I mean I don't love putting him as blue. I don't love putting any second year players a blue chipper unless they just like won a Super Bowl.
People get Jaden Daniels the next guy after the Burrow, Allen, Lamar, and Mahomes. So
I think that's a little rich for me, but like he's in the conversation. Like you have to be after the rookie year he had.
Yeah, I mean top 29 quarterback in the league.
Yeah, 100%. If we go back and look through, it's like you can actually tell your order by that. Like Justin Herbert top 32, Jalen Hurts top 30.
It's all right there for you.
All right, other blue chipper got Terry McLaurin in there. Contract questions there. I mean, I have to believe that he'll suit up by week 1, but you never know.
I mean, I feel like they have to get it figured out because, I mean, I feel like his value would have been pre-draft if you're trying to get the most for him, if you're going to move on from him. So, but he is an older player. I mean, I wouldn't worry about it until we hit deep into the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is this dude going to go out there and do in OTAs and mini camps and preseason football? I mean, he's probably just taking mental reps regardless. And I mean, he's a veteran. He's a pro. I mean, he's probably working on his game privately. So I wouldn't worry too much about it until we start getting in a week or 2 away from the season. But still a little worrisome.
Yeah. I mean, I look at this weapons room ultimately, and I'm just very, very okay with it. It's just Terry McLaurin's good, a really good receiver. But behind that, Debo, you got questions. Noah Brown, like that's what a below average wide receiver 3 in this
Cowboys
league, maybe
legend.
average, average at best wide receiver 3. And then Brian Robinson's a solid back, but he has some 3 down limitations as far as where you can play him there. So you're probably gonna see a lot of Austin Eckler again.
Michael Gallup used to be good.
Michael Gallup did used to be good. I like their Jalen Lane pick out of Virginia Tech. I think he's a good receiver.
They have McCaffrey.
Yeah, interested to see what Luke McCaffrey can do in year 2 here. But it's a very okay receiver room in my book. Like they have the one wide receiver 1, which is good. But outside of that, it's just very fine to me.
Yeah, Debo's got I mean, you went out and get Debo like you think he's still Debo. And if he is still Debo, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't tend to trust players that come from organizations like the 49ers or the Steelers or well-run organizations whenever they're like, oh yeah, you can have him.
If he's still Debo, that's incredible. If he's Tyshawn Samuel, that's not good.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, yeah, feel like you're really, really hoping to hit to get the most juice out of everybody left here. Yeah, I mean, Zach Ertz, Larry Tunsil.
I think you need Ben Sinnott to step up.
Hey,
because
you know how many people I told last year keep an eye out for Ben Sinnott?
Dude, it wasn't just you. Like he blew up in the fantasy community as everyone was like Ben Sinnott, and I loved Ben Sinnott. I still love Ben Sinnott. If he can't carve out a role, I question the offense more than him because I loved the player profile there.
Yeah, hey, my son's yelling at me. I'll be right back. Mama's working on that.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I really want to see Ben Simmons step up into a role here and ease off Zach Ertz. I mean, he's third string according to the R-Lads depth chart. We'll see where that goes. Like I'm really hoping. I loved his tape. I thought he had a lot of grit and a lot of athleticism coming out of Kansas State. The O-line, we've already touched on some. Tunsil's a good addition. I've never been the biggest Laramie Tunsil guy. The penalties are a lot. I feel like he's never quite lived up to the talent, but the talent is still the talent. Like he's still a very good left tackle. Brandon Coleman played left tackle for them last year as a rookie out of TCU. I think his best fit is at guard, and kicking him inside of left guard here, I think he's probably going to have a pretty nice season for them as long as he can stay healthy. There were some health questions coming out of TCU for him. Biotish has had some health issues in his career, but he's been a good player whenever he's on the field. He stayed on the field for them, I think, all of last year. So Sam Cosmi at right guard, he's going to be missing time. I believe he tore his ACL in a playoff game. He's going to miss some serious time here. Nick Allegretti is going to be your guy at right guard. Or I'm not sure if Andrew Wiley has ever played much guard, but maybe you could see him kick inside because you pick Josh Connerly at 29, 28. So you pick 29. I think Connerly is going to be a really good offensive tackle in this league. Maybe he never hits that Pro Bowl All-Pro level, but at the very least, I think he's going to be a quality starter. And he does have upside to hit that Pro Bowl All-Pro level. I think there's a lot to learn for him still. He's still somewhat new to the position. But I think his athleticism, his upside, his size, there's a lot to work with there. And Connerly could be your starting right tackle by the end of the year, I would think. Now, moving on to the defense, and this is where I still have a lot of questions. I made Bobby Wagner a blue chip player here just because I think he brings so much from the mental aspect of the game and the captain aspect, the getting everyone in line in place. I think that's really valuable for a middle linebacker. So I do still consider Bobby Wagner a blue chip. Frankie Louvu, I considered making a blue chip, but like I think scheme matters a lot for Louvu. He is a maniac. He is an attacker. He can kill you when he's in the right role. But I think it is very role specific for Louvu. So that's why he's not a blue chipper here. On the defensive line, 3-4 years ago, this would have been filthy. You know, like having Von Miller, Javon Kinlaw, Deron Payne, Dorrance Armstrong, Eddie Goldman, Dietrich Weiss. 3-4 years ago, that would have been a murderer's row. I'm not sure what it is today. Von Miller still showed some juice for the Bills last year, but I'm not sure how much he can play though. Like I'm not sure if he's on a pitch count at this point in his career. Javon Kinlaw, he can do some stuff as a pass rusher, but like I'm not sure he's an every down guy. Deron Payne is still a strong defensive tackle in this league. I think that his numbers were a little down last year, but it's because he wasn't playing with a lot around him. Dorrance Armstrong, he's just a fine edge to me. Dietrich Weiss, I love the addition. Getting up there in age, but I love Dietrich Weiss on the Patriots. Probably one of my favorite defensive linemen to watch the last 4 years. Is just a powerhouse who is going to beat people up from a 4-eye 5-tech spot. Johnny Newton, this D-line needs Johnny Newton to step up this year. They need Johnny Newton to take a second-year leap here and become the player that he has the potential to become. Because I thought he had some of the best tape coming out of Illinois last year. He struggled some as a rookie. He was coming off of a Jones fracture, I believe, in both his feet. Missed all camp, missed the first few weeks of the year, then came in. I do think that matters for guys. So I'm really hoping to see a nice jump from Johnny Newton here. If he makes a nice jump, combined with Deron Payne and these Von Miller, Dietrich Weiss, Dorrance Armstrong can make an impact, I start to like this D-line. But you need Johnny Newton is the trigger man for this in my mind. He needs to take a nice step this year.
Yeah, I love Dorrance Armstrong as a rotation guy. We're going to need Von Miller for them to really kind of set the tone, and maybe some of these other Deron Payne, Javon Kinlaw. If those three guys can play really good, I mean, I think Dorrance Armstrong can really excel here. But a lot of a lot of age here.
Yeah, and that's what I was just saying. Like, I think Dorrance Armstrong is a solid player, but you have a lot of solid or old players here, and you need someone to become the guy. Like, I think Payne is still good, but he's not that dude to me. Like, they're missing the Jonathan Allen of 3 years ago. Like you need Johnny Newton to take that step for them, because like he's the guy here who has the potential to do that. You spent the draft capital on him, I believe, an early second round pick. Like, and he was lauded on a lot of draft boards as a first round pick. I had him in the top 10 of his class because I believed in that dude's tape a ton. The injuries are what knocked him down.
Yeah.
So a lot of this defense to me hinges on Johnny Newton's development.
Yeah. I mean, even some of their rotation guys are old. It's not even like they have youth coming in either. So
Eddie Goldman retired like 5 years ago and then just like came back 3 years ago of just like out of nowhere. Like,
yeah,
I've been out of the league for 2 years, but I'm coming back now.
What Cleveland Farrell is probably year 7 to 8 now?
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, he was drafted by Gruden, so
yeah, like 2018, I want to say.
Yeah,
2019 maybe.
So yeah, just like our guest was saying, what was his name? Blanking all of a sudden.
Sam Finkel.
Yeah, Sam was saying about kind of going all in here. They kind of went all in, but they did it in a way that it's like literally all in for like a year. Like there's
it's very
no way.
Analytics driven. Like the Vikings have been doing this the last 2 years, where they're just taking a shotgun approach on older players.
Yeah,
and it worked for the Vikings, but like the Vikings also run a super sicko scheme that like can really hide some stuff and put guys in advantageous spots. I'm not sure Quinn does that to the same extent. But it worked last year.
Yeah, and they might have the best coach in the league too. But I mean, I don't mind that approach if you're bringing in young talent to kind of maybe hopefully build on the shotgun approach. But hell, whatever works, I guess. I mean, it worked for them. They were in the NFC Championship last year. I wasn't. So,
and then at corner, I mean, I have questions about what Marshawn Lattimore is at this point in his career. Like, I think that he looked a step slower last year. I think that he was a bit vulnerable. Jonathan Jones, I think, is a decent Band-Aid at the CB2 spot. I love Trey Amos, though. Out of Ole Miss, I think they got a very good football player in Trey Amos, a very sticky man corner who's going to fit what Dan Quinn wants to do. So, like, I do like that pick a lot, and I think Mike Sainristil is probably, I would dare call him one of the better nickel corners in the league already. Like, he is a very good football player. So I like those two guys for them.
Good instincts.
At safety, I have questions too. Quan Martin, I mean, I think he was fine last year, but like I don't feel good about him. Will Harris, I don't really have any feelings towards. He's just kind of he's a safety.
Yeah,
he's a safety. That's how I feel about Will Harris. It's like he doesn't stand out to me in any way.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see how this unit plays together. They got everybody in the NFC has got a tough schedule this year.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, it's AFC West, NFC North is what they got, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right.
Two of the better divisions in football. On top of, I think the division as a whole is going to be pretty solid from top to bottom, and you're playing a second place schedule as the Washington Commanders. So, yeah, cautiously optimistic if I'm a Commanders fan. You got a win total of 9.5, basically even money there. Playoffs minus 140, no at plus 114, division at plus 210, Super Bowl 18-1. I'm probably missing the playoffs here at plus 114. I like the under, but the juice is better, and they can go under at 9 wins and maybe sneak into the playoffs. So I'm taking miss the playoffs here. I think they're going to be the third team in the division. I think the rest of the NFC is just way too loaded. I don't think we're getting 3 teams out of the NFC East this year. You're playing Eagles are really fucking good. Cowboys were very injured last year, but I mean, you always lose to the Cowboys, and I mean, I know you don't want to. I mean, I know every season's different, and you can't be like, oh well, but I mean, those trends do happen. I mean, look at some of like the Bengals just always somehow lose to the Browns no matter what, like shit like that. Like it's sometimes that just happens. So yeah, I think it's going to be a tough division.
Yeah, I'd
maybe
take them to miss the playoffs too. I might consider taking them to take the division as well, but like it's
2-1. Yeah. I just don't feel like the juice is good enough at 2-1 there. If we were looking at closer to 3-1, like plus 275, plus 310 in that range, I might sprinkle that. But yeah, I think missing the playoffs is the right bet here. I think this is a 7-10 team.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I am buying the regression here because I can't. I have a hard time seeing them win the division, and I think the money, the value is on missing the playoffs at plus 114.
I think they're gonna be in a lot of close games like they were last year. They went 12-5 last year. Probably 4 or 5 of those games easily could have gone the other direction.
Yeah.
So
at which point, if half of those change, they're 10-7, which becomes a very tight situation.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, give me the under here, and it's on Jaden Daniels. And if they go out there, if Jaden Daniels goes out there and does what he did last year, I mean, Cliff Kingsbury's gone, so year 3 will look interesting for sure. But if maybe they can keep Cliff one more year, if they do go 7-10, and maybe next year is the year of Jaden Daniels.
The year of the Jaden.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about them Cowboys, Jay?
How about them Cowboys?
Jay, is it time to quit the Cowboys?
Yeah, everybody always talks about like, oh, you can't switch alliances in life. Like you're born into a team, you have to suffer with the team. No, you really don't. It's really easy. There's really no paperwork involved or anything. You just say I'm done with the bullshit. They're not getting my money, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean it's as easy as that, really. So yeah, Jerry Jones isn't getting any more of my money, that's for sure. But looking at this roster, I do like this roster a lot. I see a lot of value here, especially when we get into betting here in a second. I love some of the value, but looking at what they did in the draft, I mean, building in the trenches. They bring in Eberflus, which I mean, I guess that's fine. He's a good. I mean, it's just bringing in these recycled head coaches, that defensive coordinators. I mean, it didn't work last year. It worked with Quinn. We'll see with Eberflus. Jerry just loves bringing in his guys, and it's probably to a detriment at this point.
Eberflus is a Jerry guy, 100%.
Zimmer was a Jerry guy.
100%. I mean, I still believe in what Mike Zimmer would have done there. I think they just got decimated by injuries. But
yeah, last year was terrible for injuries. But yeah, looking at what they did in the draft, getting Tyler Booker. I mean, he's a mauler on the inside. Maybe has some feet issues, but I mean, if you're looking to run the ball, which everything about this team screams they kind of want to run the ball, except for the fact that they didn't really go out and get a premier talent at the running back position, which granted, Genty wasn't there at 12. Maybe you look at Amari and Hampton, I don't know. But they're like, okay, we'll get Booker and we'll find guys. And then I felt like there was a couple other running backs that were there where, I mean, you had fucking 100 picks. I mean, trade up and get a Quinchon or somebody else. I mean, but that's neither here nor there. They settle for Jaden Blue, 149. They bring in Pookie. They bring in Miles Sanders. So yeah, we'll see what it comes
Jaden
there.
Blue a lot. He's just a very situational back.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, looking at the wide receiver room, quite possibly have an argument for the best 1-2 wide receiver combo in the league. I mean, right up there with Philly, I think. I mean, I think CeeDee Lamb's better than AJ Brown, and George Pickens, I think, can be. He's not the same type of wide receiver as Devonta Smith, but I think he's equally as talented. Now, if you're asking me who I'd want on my team, George Pickens or Devonta Smith, I'm taking Devonta Smith all day.
Yeah.
But talent-wise, it's there. Jonathan Mingo was a second-round pick a couple years ago. Shit, traded a fourth for him.
Jalen Tolbert was a fourth-round pick.
Yeah, there you go. Florida, fifth-round pick last year. So,
I love me some Ryan Flournoy.
Yeah,
Love me some Ryan Flournoy. He made some beast catches at the Senior Bowl last year.
Joe Milton could throw an orange 85 yards. It's not a football.
Joe Milton, he's the next man up.
Yeah,
but they got Joe Milton.
Another reason.
This team. Dak is still probably a top 10, maybe borderline top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Like
that doesn't get
there to being really, really good in like one of the top passers in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I always joke around with Eagles fans about redhead guy.
Carson
Wentz nearly or should have won the MVP. I mean, just 2 years ago? I mean, Dak got second in MVP voting. I mean, a hell of a quarterback. And I talked about it earlier, but I mean, it stands to reason. He's 33-8 in the division in his career. He's 9-4 against the Eagles, 11-2 versus the Commanders, and 13-2 versus the Giants. He wins division games. Hell of a regular season quarterback. He's actually played decently well in some of the playoff losses, and then atrociously bad in some of the other playoff losses. So you would like to see some consistency there from him when they get back to the playoffs. But I mean, looking at this team, this offense here, I mean, I feel good if I'm a Cowboys fan about Dak Prescott coming back healthy. We've been talking about it all summer. I think one of these running backs is going to pop off. Wouldn't surprise me one bit if it's Javonte Williams. I think his time in Denver, especially with Sean Payton coming in, didn't really help him. He didn't really fit the scheme, and offensive line wasn't terribly great in Denver. So maybe a new fresh start, but you throw in Jaden Blue into that mix. I'm not expecting much out of Miles Sanders, but fuck it, like maybe.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I look at this O-line. Tyler Guyton had a long way to go when he came in this league. Like, I hate the idea that people are already calling him a bust because you drafted him knowing he's a massive project. But he is tailor-made to play offensive tackle from a physical skill set standpoint.
Yeah,
in the NFL. Like, and
I mean, he showed flashes last year.
Yeah, he showed growth throughout the season.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm big on Tyler Guyton. Tyler Smith, hell of a guard.
One of the best in the NFL. Maybe the best left guard in the NFL.
Yeah, Tyler Booker coming in, replacing an all-pro.
Which I was a Tyler Booker hater in the draft just because I didn't think he was a first-round talent, right? I saw his feet, and I said, I'd take him at the top of the second round. But when the Cowboys picked him, my eyes got wide just thinking about Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, and Tyler Booker playing next to each other. Of just like, that is a mountain of an offensive line who can just destroy
people. Yeah. They
like,
can move.
They're going to move people. Like, they can run duo all day at 4 yards, 5 yards a clip. Just no problem.
Yeah. Terrence Steele fine right tackle. I mean, top 15 guy probably.
Fine.
He doesn't blow you away by any means, but he's better. I wouldn't say he's right about league average. I would say he's fine.
50 offensive tackle in the league, which is fine at right tackle.
Yeah. So, yeah, all in all, I mean, you look at this offense. CeeDee Lamb's incredible. Dak's Dak's not underrated. People just hate the Cowboys. So, I mean, that's basically all there is to it. If Dak was on any other team, he would get talked about as like being up there with everybody else. But it's neither here nor there. George Pickens, if I'm a Cowboys fan, scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. I mean, part of me believes George Pickens is going to go off this year. And another part of me just thinks of Chase Claypool.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's coming in to be the wide receiver, too. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Claypool was he went into that situation kind of expecting to be the one eventually.
Yeah, and then they got DJ Moore.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no doubt about this. I mean, he is the wide receiver 2 on this team. So, I don't know mentally if that helps or hurts his situation. But
I'm going to assume the guy actually wants to make money. Like, that's I have to believe that burned me with Chase Claypool because evidently Claypool just didn't want to make money. But like I have to think George Pickens wants a mega contract, and that's gonna matter.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean I think they're set up for success on this offense, and we'll get to the defense.
Well, what's gonna hold this offense back though?
Offensive coordinator.
Kay Adams.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is. If we're being
Kay Adams, she has a great talk show in the mornings.
Yeah, Kay Adams. Shout out Kay Adams. No, I mean I didn't think Schottenheimer called a very good offense last year, and I know it was mainly McCarthy calling plays, and he was, but I mean it felt different than when Kellen Moore was there. Even though offensive play calling didn't really switch hands. So I don't even know who's calling plays for this offense. Let Dak call plays for all I care. But yeah, coaching is my number one concern. And then it's
Shoddy's calling plays.
Okay. So if they can't establish a run, they're in trouble. Because I don't trust this offensive line pass blocking for 40 plays a game.
Yeah, Guyton needs the balance to be able to really pass protect unless he took a giant step. Both Beebe and Booker have pretty slow feet, which makes me concerned about their edges getting soft. As strong as they are, I don't know that you're dropping back 40 times a game and feeling great about it.
I think the best version of this offense is going to be keeping Dak under 30 attempts a game. Not that Dak. I'm not worried about Dak throwing the ball more than that. I'm worried about everything else around him. So if you can keep his attempts in that 25 to 29 range, like you want him throwing the ball. I mean, he's top paid guy in the league. You have CeeDee Lamb, you have George Pickens, Jake Ferguson's coming on as a pretty strong tight end. Like you have these weapons. You want him throwing the ball, but you're going to have to be able to establish the run. You can't get away from the run, and you have to find success somewhere with one of these guys running the ball. And that all comes down to coaching, comes down to scheme, and I don't trust that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's the big red flag here for me. Like, if they had a play caller I believed in, offense coordinator I believed in, I'd feel pretty damn good about this team.
Yeah, and I do like this defense a lot.
So getting to the defense, I only got one blue chipper in there, Micah Parsons. But, Jay, Micah Parsons has really strong stats, right? He has really strong win rates against double teams. He is a guy who everything on paper says this guy should be able to get buckets when he needs to get buckets.
And he doesn't get buckets when he needs to get buckets.
What's in the way?
I don't know. I think he's at his best when, I mean, you go look at some of his biggest highlight plays, and then if the score's at the bottom of the screen, it's always like 33-0, 17-0, 23-6. Like you never see those plays when it's a close game or against a very good team. And I don't know what it is. I mean, it just seems like whenever they're beating the shit out of somebody, he plays at this level to where he's unstoppable. And then in games where it's like, okay, if we could just get a stop right here, or if they can force the 3 and out right here, we might get something going. And he's nowhere to be found. And that's kind of been ever since he got to Dallas. Now Jerry's saying the most ridiculous shit about paying him. Like, oh, what if we pay him and he doesn't play? And it's like it's the fucking NFL, Jerry. Guys don't play. Guys get hurt.
Well, and that's the wildest thing too, of just like, you can have questions about a guy's ability to take over a game that he needs to take over.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, a guy who gets 14 plus sacks every single year of his career is going to get paid a disgusting amount of money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore. 14 sacks is 14 sacks a year.
Exactly. So, but no, so some of the guys, I think also Digazua, I mean, I think he's on the verge of a blue chipper if you watch this Dallas defense.
Probably like that red chip range, one below it, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I see it.
He's right on the verge of busting out, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does it this year. He's kind of what stirs this Dallas defense. And then bringing back Donta Fowler, I think his second stint here in Dallas, he's a fine piece. But some of these guys that I'm really looking forward to is if you're a Cowboys fan, is Sam Williams coming back after injury. Marshawn Nealon played really, really well last year before he got hurt, I thought. Those two guys back and healthy in this rotation, I would be thrilled about.
This is one of the deepest edge rotations in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have second round pick Donovan Ezeraku, who had like 20 sacks for Boston College last year in the third string. That's nice. That's a luxury.
Yeah, and I mean, they had a lot of picks this year, loaded up in defensive line, and
their defensive tackle room still sucks.
Digazua.
Like, you tried with Mozzie Smith. I loved Mozzie Smith. Matt Eberflus just asked Mozzie Smith to drop weight again. So like, I don't know what the fuck that's.
Yeah,
he comes in the league, gets told to drop 30 pounds. Second year gets told to add like 40 pounds. Third year is getting asked to drop weight again. It's just like,
you know what that does to a man? Sips that back and forth. You know what that does to a man?
What's that from?
The Office.
The Office, that's it.
You tell me you don't want kids. And then you want kids.
Such a great scene. But yeah, I mean,
you know what 7 vasectomies does to a man?
Behind those two, I mean, Solomon Thomas, Ernest Brown, and then two rookies in Jay Toia and Tommy Akinga-Bisote. Both those rookies, I have not watched a snap of, and I watched like 30 defensive tackles for this draft class. So like I can't tell you anything about them, but like the fact that I don't know anything is telling to me alone that like it was that deep to find a thing about them.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this defensive line is going to be really fucking good. I mean, maybe they're a little weak at DT, but
I think it's going to be the classic Cowboys issue. They're going to have a disgusting pass rush on the D-line, but I don't know how they'll stop the run that well.
Yeah, luckily nobody in the division runs the ball.
Mean, you're not wrong, except for the
so looking at linebackers, DeMarvion Overshown, this dude flies all over the field. He is so much fun to watch.
He's probably missing the start of the year, I believe.
Yeah. another health issue there. He's basically been hurt his entire stint in Dallas now.
But hey, some NFL evaluators love the guy too. It's not just like just lip service. Like there's the ESPN like top linebackers list. He's mentioned in there already, and he hasn't even really played a lot. But like he's loved around the league.
Yeah, no, he flies. That'll be the guy Jerry pays, because he always pays the guys who have injury history or something like that, and then they fall off a fucking cliff. So he'll probably get a big contract. So
yeah,
congratulations,
Kenneth Murray. Like I feel like he's just a fine, like average linebacker in this league. But you know who the Cowboys are going to see a lot of this year? I'm sure.
Damone Clark.
Jackie Sanborn, baby. His statue has been waiting to be built at Soldier Field, and he followed his guy Eberflus to Dallas. Jackie Sanborn, the statue's being moved to Dallas. Let's go. The neck is here.
Get excited for Jackie Sanborn.
Love Jack Sanborn.
All right.
He's not anything. He's not going to do much in pass coverage or anything. But he's just a quality. Like he just does his thing. He's a hard hat and lunch pail kind of guy.
He is. All right, looking at these DBs, I think Trevon Diggs still really fucking good. Deron Bland's really good.
He's coming off that, like he's also might miss. That's what the red designates.
I think he should be healthy. He got hurt pretty early in the season last year.
I believe his timeline was questionable. I was looking it up as I was making this. So he's on the PUP list to start camp.
Everybody's on the PUP list.
That's true. Everyone is.
That's just a way to get extra guys out there.
There's no official return date. The hope is he could be ready to play at some point in 2025.
Love that.
Right. So that's why I put it red, because like it's very unclear. So that reads as he's not going to be ready week 1. But I'm not an expert.
But I mean, you got a lot of depth here. I mean, Kalen Carson was up and down for him last year.
I liked him a lot. I still like him.
Mm-hmm.
I love Siobhan Ravel too. I would not play Siobhan Ravel this year because he has a lot to learn. But like, the physical profile is freaky for him.
Yeah, and then they got that. I like their safety room as well. So I mean, I think they're good.
The only question I have in their secondary is Kaiir Elam. Like I have major questions about Kaiir Elam starting for you, but like your other options, if it's Carson, I like Carson, but like you said, he was really up and down last year. And Andrew Booth, I have just as many questions about as Elam. So like,
yeah, but I mean, Bland can really play the other.
I was really surprised that they had Bland as the nickel. I would not think that. Like that's not where I would have projected him, but that's where I had him. So I just put.
He'll play outside with them. So, and then they might bring in, I don't know, maybe they play Benquamo at nickel or something like that. In that scenario, I don't know, but
yeah, or like I think Troy Pride Jr. can play some nickel. I know he's had some injury issues in his career, but that's that third corner spot, whether it's Bland on the outside and the nickel question, or Bland on the inside and the outside question being that's where my concern is. But who knows? Maybe Ravel can take the job and he'll surprise us all. But he has the traits to do it, like the tools.
They lost their other corner in the offseason. Well, I can't remember his name. Joseph, maybe.
Jordan Lewis.
Jordan Lewis. Yeah, Jordan Lewis is pretty solid for him.
Yeah.
So losing him kind of hurts, because having both of those, having him as the third option in that rotation was always kind of a safety net for him.
Yeah, but Jay, where are you going with these predictions?
All right, I think 7-5 is absolute, or 7.5 win total is an absolute steal at the over. I mean, Dak Prescott wins 10 games when he's healthy every single year of his career. And I mean, if it's at 8.5, 9.5, yeah, I understand. We're at 7.5 wins here. You look at the talent on this team. I mean, the question is that coaching. I understand that, but this team's going to win more than 7.5 games. If they don't, I will be absolutely shocked. I think the best value here is the division at nearly 6-1. You're getting a team with this much talent, with a quarterback of this caliber, wide receivers of this caliber, an offensive line this good, a defensive line that can rush the passer. And I understand you have the returning NFL Super Bowl champions in the division, but for this team to be the pick third betting wise, I think that's tremendous value at 550 to win the division.
I think that's really strong value. I'm probably going to stop at playoffs at plus 190 just because I see blue chippers up and down the Eagles roster.
Yeah.
And like it's just 8 blue chippers versus 4 blue chippers. That's a big difference. Like, and it can all change as injuries come in and all that. And like, I do think the Cowboys have a shot at the division. Yeah, I'll just take my plus 190 on playoffs. And
but you're getting 2-1. And like I said, I mean, Dak Prescott's a 10-win guy when he plays. I mean, I'm not going to bang the table for him once playoffs starts, but I mean, the dude wins 10 games when he's healthy.
Yeah. All right, you ready to move on?
Yeah. Jameis Winston,
those New York Football Giants.
All right. Let's see.
How do you feel about the Giants right now, Jay?
I kind of like them.
I've liked them for like 3 straight years now, just because their D line is just like, I just love D line.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I convince myself to like the Giants. It seems like every year, but like also I should never like a team that doesn't have a quarterback. And
they have 3 quarterbacks.
Right, but what do they say about having 2 or 3 quarterbacks, actually having none, something along those lines?
It's if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one, but they have 3.
Oh, I see. So 3 is different.
Yeah, okay. 3 is different. No, I think this is going to be Jackson Dart's team by week 7 or 8. So looking at this team, I mean,
you don't think there's a heavy learning curve for Dart though, coming from that Ole Miss offense?
Yeah, but I think Brian Daboll's really good with quarterbacks.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know how much credit you want to give him for Josh Allen, but Josh Allen was maybe considered one of the biggest projects we've seen in recent history coming out, and had a rough start to year 1, year 2. I mean, relied a lot on athleticism, but grew into undeniably top 4 guy. I mean, it's Allen, it's Burrow, it's Mahomes, and it's Jackson, and then it's everybody else. I mean, I think that's kind of I don't think anybody really argues that at this point. And I think Dable had a lot to do with that. And if I'm in the Giants organization, why wouldn't you want to see Jackson Dart? I mean, because you're looking at this team and you're saying, okay, best case scenario, what does Russell Wilson go win 8 or 9 games for you?
8 or 9 games is probably pretty welcome for this franchise.
The
right direction.
It's the right direction, but I mean, what would be the point? I mean, I think you get your rookie in there, especially with year 2, Malik Neighbors out there. Tyrone Tracy.
I guess where I'm at is like last year, Russell Wilson was pacing for a 17-game season. He only played 11 games, but if we project that across 17 games, 3,800 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Do we think Jackson Dart can do better than that?
It's not about Jackson Dart doing better than that. It's about Jackson Dart getting reps and getting out there and getting playing time and building a culture that they so desperately need for this team. If Russell Wilson started 17 games and Jackson Dart started 17 games for this team this year, Russell Wilson maybe have better numbers. Maybe you win a couple more games with him, but then Jackson Dart's coming into year 2 with little to no starting experience, and maybe that's good. I mean, it worked out for Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Well, let me ask you this: if JJ McCarthy and Michael Penix come out guns a-blazing this year, do you think that changes their mindset about how quickly Dart can start?
No, I don't think. I think every single quarterback should be judged by what goes on in the locker room. It may put pressure on management and the organization, but I feel like coaches know.
Well, and I meant that from the standpoint of both those guys sat majority of their rookie years, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like coaches know, and if you think he's ready, you got to play him.
Okay.
If you don't think he's ready, you have two veteran options to play in front of him, two guys to learn from. You have a great motivator in Jameis Winston, who might not give you the best advice. He just wants to throw it deep all the time. And you have a Super Bowl champion in Russell Wilson, who was probably a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer 5 years ago. And now, I mean, is he still? Maybe. But
I feel like it's questionable at this point. Like,
yeah.
Every year he continues to play, I feel like the more unlikely it gets.
Yeah, I feel like he could have retired.
He's been solid numbers wise, but like he's not doing
winning.
Yeah,
he's not winning. And the time in Seattle, he was starting to get talked about like Drew Brees, like best quarterback to never win an MVP type discussion. Like,
little did we know it was all Pete Carroll.
Hey, I like them Raiders this year.
But let's dive into this offense a little. One blue chipper in Malik Neighbors, who I think is a clear blue chipper after last year. Like, there's no, as long as he's on the field, he's a problem for defenses.
Yep.
But go ahead.
No, yeah, I was going to say Malik Neighbors is absolute beast. That's another reason why I'd want to get Jackson Dart out there, because all of a sudden, if you have Jackson Dart starting year 3 of Malik Neighbors, and then year 4, you're already looking at contract for Malik Neighbors. Got to find out, make sure that works. If not, you move him for everything that you can get.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Outside of Malik Neighbors and the weapons, I mean, similar to what I was saying about the Commanders, very fine. Like Darius Slayton, that's fine.
Yeah, fine.
Rondale Robinson, he can do some gadget stuff behind them. I mean, I'd like to see Jalen Hyatt do something, but like outside of that, I feel very mediocre about this wide receiver.
I will say
uninspired.
If Jameis Winston is the starting quarterback of this team, go grab Jalen Hyatt in every single fantasy league, because Jameis is just going to try to throw him the deepest bombs possible every single play.
Yeah. At tight end, I have questions. I mean, Theo Johnson, I think he showed a little more than I expected as a rookie. But I still you ever see a guy's like combine profile and it just does not match what you saw on the field, and you're just like, what? That's how I felt about Theo Johnson coming out of Penn State. I felt like his athleticism showed more once he got to the NFL than it ever did at Penn State. So maybe that's more of a Penn State issue than a Theo Johnson issue. Wouldn't be the first time we saw that. But like, I don't really buy Theo Johnson until I see more from him, just because of that.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at O-line, Andrew Thomas, it's fine. I don't think he's developed into the player that you really wanted.
To me, he's a red chip player. Like, I mean, he was almost blue chip, but like, he just has so many health issues. When he's on the field, he's good. It's just he's not on the field enough. So like, he needs to have a healthy season here.
Remember Evan Neal?
Yeah, he's their second string right guard.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, that hurts me. That hurts my soul. I loved Evan Neal, but you gotta celebrate your hits and your misses, folks. But anyways, John Runyon, fine guard. I mean, JMS, he started to show some steps. Like he's never really become the player that you thought he would be. I don't know. We did a whole episode. It got taken off YouTube because it used too much college game tape that was restricted. But we went through JMS's tape. It was kind of like, I don't know how good this guy's going to be in the league. And it's kind of turned out that way where like he just doesn't really he's not a great athlete. He's a little undersized. Like it just doesn't really add up to being a good center. But he trended towards average last year, so you can start to feel better about that and hope he takes another step. Greg Van Roten, this dude just has a great offensive line name. I feel like he's been in the league for like 3 decades now, and he's on a different team all the time. Like he's played for, he's played for Green Bay, the Panthers, the Jets, the Bills, the Raiders, and now the Giants. Like I just feel like this dude roams everywhere. But he had a nice season last year at like 34 years old, so like maybe he can replicate that.
Mercenary.
And Jermaine Illuminor. He's a fine right tackle. You feel fine about him. I really like Marcus Bow. That's how it's pronounced. Or Bow. I think it's just Bow. Marcus Bow out of Purdue. I think that he has a chance to slot in somewhere on this O-line. I think he might be a center. He might be a guard. He might be a tackle. He has really short arms, but he has his technique is really creative. He's a winning football player in my mind. I'm not sure where he's going to play or where it's going to work for him because he does have certain physical limitations, but like I'll bet on that guy all day. He's nasty as hell and has some wild technique that he uses.
Pretty good name too.
Yeah. But on the defense, this D-line's fun.
Yeah. Abdul Carter not a blue chip?
I got to see him play on the grass on Sundays before I can get the blue chip.
Yeah, no.
But I considered it.
Yeah, so you look at this defensive line and pretty good.
Yeah, I mean Dexter Lawrence I think is the best defensive player in the NFL. Brian Burns is still an outstanding edge rusher. I think there are some limitations against the run, but I still gave him blue chip just because he's hell to pass block against known passing situations. It's on the Giants offense to get the defense in some known passing situations, but he's an animal. Abdul Carter is only going to make this nastier. Darius Alexander, a guy I loved out of Toledo this year. I think he's going to walk in and probably play a significant role on this D-line just because he's really good. He's already like 25 years old, so you need to see the results quickly because he's an older prospect. I like the Roy Robertson Harris addition here. I think this you had Kayvon Thibodeau as depth too, along with Darius Alexander. Like I really like the depth of this D line and the starters. I just think they're really strong.
Yeah, no, I think they're gonna really be able to cause some issues. So definitely the strength of this team. Linebackers are fine. Okereke been around for a long time.
I considered a blue chip for Okereke. I think it is Bobby Okereke.
Yeah.
I got the phonetic spelling down a few years ago because I thought the Bears were going to sign him when Eberflus was head coach, but they didn't. But Okereke, I considered a blue chip. I ended up thinking of him as more of a red chip player. Like he's really good, but I'm not sure he's that level of difference maker. But like he's a strong linebacker.
Yeah. DBs. I don't know much about this DB room.
My dude Deontay Banks needs to take a step.
I loved him coming out.
Me too. He needs to figure it out this year because Paulson Adebo is a good CB2 in my mind. Andrew Phillips is trending towards one of the better nickel corners in the league after his rookie year. Deontay Banks needs to be a CB1. He needs to figure this out, and his time's running out to do it. So like it's now or never for Deontay Banks, in my opinion. Otherwise, next year you're gonna have to look at replacing him.
Yeah.
And then at safety, I mean, they seem to add Javon Holland because what do you make of Javon Holland?
I have no idea.
You're talking a Pro Bowl safety who the Dolphins just cut. Like we're like, okay, we're through.
We're done with you.
We're not even going to trade you. We're just going to let you walk. Like
and then I mean,
and then I have to assume there were rumblings from him about Fangio when Fangio was the Dolphins D coordinator and Fangio left, and then like it was clear like Fangio went to the Eagles and won a Super Bowl with a dominant defense. Like he wasn't the issue. Was Javon Holland one of the issues? Like I can't help but wonder that.
Yeah. I mean, very possibly could have been, but one thing that helps DBs out is a great defensive line. So
This defense can be really nasty this year, man. Like Newbin had a good rookie year. Even if Deontay Banks just takes a step towards average,
yeah,
there's not really a hole in this starting lineup.
no, and it's gonna be nasty. It's gonna be a dogfight.
But can the offense do enough for it to matter?
Yeah, that's where I struggle. I mean, like I said, if Russell Wilson starts every game, I think this is a eight to I would say 8 to 10 win team. I really like this over. I mean, you're getting plus money at over 5.5. You look at the talent of this defense and the veteran options available at quarterback at a pretty talented rookie as well. If you end up having to play the rookie with a top flight wide receiver, I don't know how well they're going to be able to run the ball. Tyrone Tracy showed flashes. Singletary shown flashes. Kev Scatabo, I don't love, but we'll see.
I think Scadabo's solid as an RB3, maybe RB2. Like as a short distance back and a guy who can play passing downs. Like I see value in Scadabo.
Vibes guy, locker room guy.
Yeah.
No, it's not like you gave up a whole lot for him either. So, yeah, I mean, I think their issue is going to be just consistency on the offense. Can they do enough? Can they do enough to keep that defense fresh? Can they sustain drives? They're like, if they go out there and they start having a lot of 3-and-outs and stuff, I mean, that defense doesn't get tired. And then I don't think they have the offensive firepower to keep up with anybody. So having Malik Neighbors definitely helps. So they're gonna be able to have to establish a little bit of a run game, have consistency at the quarterback position, which I think Russell Wilson can bring to the team. He's probably not going to make a whole lot of mistakes. So, yeah, I think I might even sprinkle playoffs here.
I won't. I'll do the over 5.5. I won't take playoffs, and I think I figured out why Vegas has such a low win total on them. Because their first 8 games are Washington, Dallas, Kansas City, Chargers, Saints, Eagles, Broncos, Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brutal schedule for everybody.
Can Brian Dable survive that first half of the season?
I think if you're gonna fire Brian Dable, that's when you do it. Because I think that gives kind of a reset. You still have veterans in the room to help out your rookie quarterback. You bring in the guy for year 2, and I mean, I'm not a fan, and I know you're not a fan of year 2 quarterbacks coming in. Shit, if the wheels really fall off here, is Jackson Dart their quarterback next year?
Probably not. I mean, let's be honest.
You look at the quarterbacks coming in; they go get a top 3 pick.
You're talking Josh Rosen territory real quick.
Yeah, and he was a 9th overall.
Yeah.
I mean, Jackson Dart barely slipped into the first round. So,
like, I have real questions about whether you lose this locker room before the second half of the season starts. If you're 2-6,
yeah, it depends on how that 2-6 looks.
Yeah,
and who's playing quarterback. I mean, I think there's a lot of factors involved, but yeah, I think if you make the move on Dable, I think that's when you do it, and you kind of have I think you have a good base in place here. Maybe if you have somebody inside the building that you're seriously considering, you elevate them, you give them the opportunity to try to ride the ship, however that may be, and then you go into the offseason guns a-blazing. Like, I feel like this team is primed to make a move, and I don't think it's this year. I think best case scenario this year they can be a solid football team, but
for some reason this conversation just reminded me of the time where in 2021 when Mike Glennon came in to a game for the Giants midway through the game, and I just hammered like 5 units on the other team. to cover the live spread, I was like, Mike Glennon's in it. It's going to happen. Thank you, New York Giants, for that. Thank you. I still love that moment.
I'm pretty sure that was the same year they announced Mike Glennon as the starter, and I hammered every single Mike Glennon under, and like one of my best NFL days ever.
Yeah. It was a great day. But
yeah.
Anyways, let's get to this year's Giants. Let's not traumatize any Giants fans out there.
Yeah, I'm probably taking the over here at the plus money, maybe sprinkle the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, if you're a Giants fan, if you're bad this year, just want to bottom out. I think at minimum we're gonna have 3 quarterbacks in the draft next year that are gonna be top 10 picks, and there's probably gonna be 1 or 2 more guys that rise. I think it's gonna be a good quarterback class. So maybe see what you have with Jackson Dart, but if Daboll's not the coach next year, Jackson Dart I don't think is the quarterback either.
Yeah. I'll take the over 5.5 because it's plus 110, but like I'm stopping there. I can't do playoffs or division here.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I think that wraps us up. I do think next week we should do a revision show where we do Packers and Steelers.
Oh, Packers Steelers, yeah.
Yeah, because Steelers too much change since our first episode. I think we need some fresh takes there. And Packers, our whole episode was just the Packers suck. So,
which they do.
They do.
So we'll have that. All right. Well, thank y'all for joining. And I guess next week we can do both of those teams, then kind of pick through all of the teams that have the lowest win totals and find out who we're not sleeping on.
Okay.
We'll pick that
sounds
team
good
next
to
week.
Me. Well, next week you'll know who we are not sleeping on.
Well, just compile a list of like the 10 lowest win totals in the league, and we'll pick our favorite out of the 10.
Yeah, I like that.
Perfect. All right. Well, that'll do it for us this week. See y'all next week. Packers, Steelers, picking a sleeper.
Adios.
And when you knock us down, on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.